Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Spy Kids Armageddon. Yes, Spy Kids are back with director Robert Rodriguez, coming back to this franchise that got him a lot of attention and success in the early 2000s with this story of two kids whose parents are spies, and they wind up getting taken, and the kids have to jump into action. And this is a reboot because, honestly, it's the same basic structure as the first Spy Kids film in terms of these two kids have to step up and do Spy Kids things because their parents, who were spies, which they didn't know about, wind up getting taken. And they have an eccentric creator of media who happens to be the villain. This time around, Rodriguez still leans into the same campy-looking special effects that, were fun and weird and quirky in the early 2000s. You're going to have to take it or leave it. If you're still sold into, this is just the world that Spy Kids looks like. It's artificial looking, it's weird, it's odd, off-putting sometimes, but, that's the environment that these films take in. I think with the more special effects, it just looks cleaner, I guess. It still captures that same kind of spirit. If you're like, well, they should have really, updated this in the effects, it's like, sure, why not? If that's what you're expecting, you're going to be disappointed by this because that's what they went for. That's exactly what Rodriguez went for. So, yeah, everything looks like a green screen for the most part. Story-wise, I don't really think this reboot does anything fresh or exciting. And on the contrary, it kind of combines two of the original Spy Kids films and leaves out some of the more fun things. So, not to just, compare this to the first film, but, basically, you have some fun action sequences and fun adventure sequences, and it'll grab your attention, you'll have some fun with it. And I think, bare bones, that's the most important thing. You're going to have some fun with this movie. You have these big, CGI robot things and knights and stuff like that because the idea of this film is the kids unwittingly help this, tech guy who makes all these video games launch his video game out into the world, and you have to, beat the video game to do anything with technology. And Billy Magnuson is quirky and, I'm an evil guy, I'm a villain, ha, kind of thing, and I think he's having some fun with it. We're having some fun with it. And the two child actors, I'm not going to harp on child acting because, acting's hard enough, especially putting on a child. They're not the strongest child actors that I've seen. They certainly aren't as strong as the two original actors from Spy Kids. So that's a little bit of a glaring thing. And then you have Zachary Levi and Gina Rodriguez. I'm fine with Zachary Levi. I love Gina Rodriguez. I just don't feel like they got to... it's not like the parents got a ton to do in the original Spy Kids, but, they at least gave them that opportunity. Antonio Banderas is still able to be charming as hell. And he is. And I just feel like this film feels sure, it's a reboot. You're redoing the same basic ideas. It just feels like a less inspired and a less effective version of the first film. Because that first film is strangely quirky and offbeat and weird. But, the performers in it are able to find that frequency of weird and kind of run with it. I feel like this film's missing that, and in some ways it feels just sterile at times, and it doesn't really feel like it has the personality. It has a cool concept. These kids going into this video game and having to fight these, big knights and all kinds of weird CGI video game creations and stuff like that. Overall, I think it has enough fun, silly action sequences to keep your attention. I just don't feel like this really captures the same level of fun and excitement and weird as the original first film at least. I know it was kind of like depreciating over time with the sequels and stuff like that. But in the end, like, you know, if you sit down and watch this with your family, I think the kids will have some fun. You'll at least have some things that you latch on to. This isn't going to be something like, I don't think many adults are going to sit there and be like, ooh, time to watch some Spy Kids Armageddon. Like, I own the first 3 Spy Kids movies, and, like, I'll watch them. Even though, like, the second one's not as great and the third one definitely has its problems. But, like, I'm more than happy to sit back and watch the first Spy Kids movie and have a lot of fun with it. This has some fun. Overall, I think this is fine. It's a fine reboot of this franchise. If you have expectations that this is going to be something bigger, bolder, more updated than the previous films, you're probably going to be disappointed then. But you know what? It's sitting there. It's right there on Netflix to take a watch. But those are my thoughts on Spy Kids Armageddon. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.